What is up, everyone? I'm Skratch. Welcome to the channel. This will be another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today, we're gonna have a look at Gnut going absolutely nuts, okay? That's what we're gonna do in today's video. I personally think he's the best enemy max HP champion in the game, especially for all the dungeons, everything else that doesn't really have to do with Hydra. Now, at the same time, I do have my doubts with that too, because I do think he's one of the best for Hydra clan boss as well, and a lot of you guys are constantly praising Acrisia. Acrisia is the best for Hydra. Acrisia, she's the best for this. Acrisia, she's the best for that. Like, everybody just wants to dream of Acrisia. For whatever reason, I can't blame you because it's true. She used to wear the crown before this bad boy came to the game. But now, since he's going nuts mode, okay, she's just not wearing the crown. This bad boy just slapped her off her head, and I'm gonna show you why. I'm gonna show you why Gnut can actually do insane damage in Hydra clan boss as well. Especially since we actually have so many different viable options on how we can bring Hex to the fight, you know, and since the curse set, etc., he is actually stepping up quite a bit. Now, basically, the only thing that's enemy max HP on the champion is this skill right here, okay? The rest are regular attacks, but still doing fairly decent damage. Now, Acrisia, on the other hand, she has everything enemy max HP, and she has AoEs. That's one of the things that I would arguably say that yes, on a regular team for Hydra, she will do more damage. She will kill the heads faster because of the AoE damage, which is amazing. You know, she's absolutely a beast. But you know what? A lot of you guys might not know that teams with Gnut do more damage than teams with Acrisia if you are building them to do stupid damage, okay? There are quite a few teams with Gnut doing over 1 billion damage on Hydra Nightmare. And there are not that many doing over 1 billion damage just with Acrisia. Let me just tell you that, okay? So that being said, guys, I'm going to show you the build at the end on the champion. It's not like it's a new build or anything like that. He's just going nuts. Now, I already showcased my teams for Hydra Heart and for Hydra Nightmare. Today, we are doing Brutal, guys. And I'm not here to do a free-to-play guide on Hydra team. It's not necessarily a guide for a beginner or anything like that. I'm here to show you how powerful Gnut is in Hydra clan boss and how a lot of people actually disregard the champion. And yes, I am using a lot of OP Void legendaries. You're gonna see how he compares next to an Acrisia, next to a Taras. Keep in mind, we do have Krisk on a curse set, which will bring Hex. Now, Gnut really brings a lot of damage because of that, and his A3. Enemy max HP hit, triple hitter, okay, and you're gonna smack pretty much any head whatsoever. Even with weak hits, once you have that defense down and everything else that you need, you will basically hit the enemy max HP cap, which is crazy. He has the best multipliers out of all the enemy max HP hitters in the game. And I freaking love him. But let's take them in for a spin, guys. So basically, what you need to keep in mind with a team like this is when you're trying to get the highest amount of damage from enemy max HP nukers and you have Hex or Curse set, you always want to target the head that will give you the best damage. And those are the tankiest ones, okay? So I'm quickly gonna make you the top right here. The first head is the Head of Suffering, Head of Decay, Head of Wrath, Head of Blight, Head of Torment, Head of Mischief. You wanna prioritize them in that order depending on what head you have right here, okay? And that will significantly increase your damage when you're doing your run. Very, very important. Now, initially, I used to run this team with Supreme Gallic instead of Ugo. I used to have Venus instead of Gnut. The whole problem with that team was that I was kind of like capped at around 350 million damage, no matter what I was doing, okay? Because that was their potential. So I wanted to bring more damage, so I made a few changes. I do have Ugo on an Affinity Breaker set, just to help her land the debuffs a bit more consistent. And yes, Taras will deal a lot of damage. Acrisia will deal a lot of damage. Hell, everybody will deal a lot of damage, including Gnut. But if you're checking this hit right here. Now, initially, I would want to go and hit the Head of Wrath, but I really want to kill the Head of Mischief as fast as possible, because Taras has quite a few extra buffs because of the blessing as well, and he's always going for him no matter what, you know, like it's kind of like the RNG doesn't even exist there. And you guessed it right, of course the build will be Relentless. Like, it's kind of like a no-brainer. Enemy max HP on Relentless. The rest of the champions that you would want them to use their skills more often, you really wanna look at Reflex set, especially now that the turn limit counts so much. So we're gonna put that attack down with Gnut. We're gonna have the counter attack on him as well. And now the next thing that you really want to do is to kill the Head of Torment. At least that's what I'm trying to do on this rotation. This rotation really sucks with 3/4 heads. It's actually pretty damn annoying. There you go. And let's just kill the Head of Suffering. Or Torment, actually. Let's make the Head of Torment suffer, basically. And then put decrease speed, whatever we need. Once we're gonna have the heads decapitated, we're not gonna care about weak hits with his A3. The A1 still matters quite a bit because it doesn't have such a crazy multiplier. You always want to target the heads that have weakened, they have the defense down, they have all the debuffs in order just to basically increase the damage from his A1 as well. Very, very important. Right here, we're gonna hit quite a few weak hits on the Head of Rat, for example. I think the Head of Decay might be Magic Affinity this time around, if I'm not mistaken. So that's gonna create us quite a few issues here and there. The A1 will actually bring in a lot of damage once you have all the debuffs on the decapitated heads. It will bring roughly around 500k damage with all the 3 hits, and you definitely want to make the most of it with the Hex too. Always target the opposite now. You want to target with the A1 the weaker heads, because you're going to get bigger damage. So Head of Mischief, Head of Torment, and go in the opposite order basically to improve your damage with that too, you know. So there we go, another AoE. Kill them all. Take them all down. Of course, the other ones will spawn ASAP. We have the Head of Suffering in here. Head of Decay, as expected, his Magic Affinity. So right now, it's kind of like pointless to go and use the enemy max HP because I wanna land some of the debuffs, and I would love initially to get the Head of Suffering down, but the first hit that I'm gonna use with the A3 is not going to go there. I don't have defense down on the decapitated heads either, so my damage won't be as great, but still it will be fairly decent. Okay, we landed the defense down on that too, which is awesome. Decrease speed, hacks, pretty much everything that we need. So check this out. Right now we're gonna hit a weak head, the strong affinity head of Rat, because that's what will give us the best damage. If we're hitting the shielded ones, we're basically gonna lose damage. But check out the weak hits as well if we're getting any. Okay, we didn't got any, but basically it's gonna be the exact same damage because he doesn't care about all that. He's still going to hit for 273k, which is the cap. That's the beauty of it, you know. So let's just go with the A1 in here, push a bit of Termiter with Taras. Not only that we are gonna get more damage like that, but pushing the Termiter from Taras is actually gonna be massive, you know. So let's provoke again. Make sure that we're keeping that head controlled in here. A1, we're gonna go on the Head of Blight here. You see, 360k hit. The Hex will spread some more damage from there too, and that's how you're basically going to bring in a lot of damage with him. Now, of course, you gotta be very patient. You gotta make sure you are always targeting the right heads with his skills. That will be key if you wanna bring in very big numbers in your team, you know, and have a crazy damage. There we go. Slowly and surely, we're gonna take them down. I definitely wanna use this. Put the weaken on. Get that decrease attack on them too, because the head of Torment can hit pretty hard. So Taras right now, let's just use that. 1.6 million. Of course, if we're gonna have everything perfect in sync for Taras as an idea, and we're always gonna have a Hex on the rest, and we're gonna hit for 1.6 million. That will bring in a lot of damage, okay, for the wearer of the curse set. So keep that in mind too. Right now, unfortunately, we effed that up. You know why? Because the Head of Mischief just came out to play, and basically he's gonna attempt to steal the buffs from... Oh, okay, I have it available. I don't know why I thought that I just used it before. That's why I was like, we effed that up. But seems like we're good. We are good to go. We are good to go. Okay. He's definitely gonna go for Krisk now, because Krisk has 5 buffs, the rest they have 4, so that's the main thing. I definitely want to take the Head of a Decay down as fast as possible too, because I might not get that provoke on all the time to keep it consistent on the head, you know, so that will play a very important role. Okay, that's down, and now we are going to focus on the Head of Suffering. And hear me out, why? Because the Head of Mischief is here. So I'm going to take the Head of Suffering down as fast as possible, try to maximize my damage, and then I'm going to try to drop the Termiter on him once I'm going to kill the Head of Mischief to keep the Head of Suffering decapitated even longer and increase my damage even more. So that's another another important thing to keep in mind and to ensure that you're doing when you are doing your Hydra run if you want to maximize the damage, guys, you know. So I'm not going to stay in this run for much longer. I'm going to show you after the final result. I'm just trying to make sure I'm kind of like pointing out everything that matters in here to ensure that I'm not leaving anything out. You see 1.2 million damage from that. And that, of course, is on Brutal. On Nightmare is going to be more damage. Acrisia brought 800k. And how I said it before, I'm not trying to take anything away from Acrisia. She's still doing stupid damage. She's absolutely amazing. She's a beast. But so is Gnut, okay? So I just want to make sure you guys understand that Acrisia, she's not the only champion that will allow you to do stupid damage in here, okay? Very important to know that. Very, very important. Okay, so let's just do that. My god, look at Chris, how many buffs it has. The Head of Mischief. He better not be 3%ing me because I might lose my mind. And seems like anyway he's gonna go for Taras or for Gnut actually. Ooh, that beautiful damage. So right now you see the thermometer of the Head of Decay is about to go closer and closer and closer to the end so he can spawn again. But what we're gonna do, we're gonna slowly kill the Head of Mischief and we're gonna drop that thermometer. So that will allow us to keep the Head of Decay down for longer. There you go. So that's actually amazing because from here on, we're constantly going to spray every single enemy max HP hit we have in there. We're going to try to put decreased speed. We're going to try to give them basically everything that we have. Of course, with Taras, with his A1, we're going to have to target something completely different if we just want to basically increase the damage overall. I wish I would have had right now the Weaken from Gnut, but unfortunately, I don't have that available. And slowly and surely, let's just try to maximize the damage, you know. We have hacks on a couple of heads there. She didn't land that defense down, unfortunately. Let's just push with his A1 here. Would have been better if we were targeting a different head. Okay, there we go. Defense down. That makes quite a bit of a difference. Check this out now. Look at the damage. The hex damage too. Like literally 300, almost 400k more just from the hex hits because of him. And that spawned on 1 and 2. And that will go to Krisk as a overall damage at the end. But it doesn't matter. It's just who's bringing that damage in, basically. You know, who's bringing it in. And now with Taras again. Push with the A1 to get more thermometer. We don't want to use the other skills for the moment. We want to rotate our champions as fast as possible to try and maximize all the damage in here, guys. A bit of a cleanse. Put that weaken down. Extra turn. Beautiful. Now we're going to smack the Head of Mischief. And look at that. You see? Almost 450k from there too. And again, the hacks spread to the other heads too, which is very, very good. The Head of Decay, the Head of Suffering, sorry, is still down there with 2 turns, so he's gonna be there for a while. Look at the damage, 2 million, 1.9. That's what Taras can do. When you have a good amount of buffs on, he will definitely do an insane job, you know. But he needs to have quite a few buffs. So now I'm gonna hit the Head of Torment instead, just because I'm gonna get higher numbers with the A1. And beautiful. We are at what? Boss turn count 29, 55 million damage. Not looking too bad at all. Decreased speed. Everybody has decreased speed except the Head of Rat, which is fine. And check this out. We're gonna put the A2 in there. 1.3 million. AoE attack from her. This is pointless to use it right now, so we're gonna save it. Because it's the Toxic Cloud on. We're not going to be able to do nothing. But once we are going to kill the Head of Blight, that's when we're going to be able to use that skill. And plus, we're going to have the Head of Mischief sneaking his way back into the run in just a second. What I told you is like I knew it. He's always here, you know. He's always here, just looking at me with the corner of his eye. That was some beautiful damage from Taras's A1 right there. Now we're going to land that. And unfortunately, we got a weak hit on the Head of Mischief, so we gotta be careful with what skills we're using on Gnut, what skills we're using on Taras, who has more buffs here, because this can be dangerous. This can basically drop our damage quite a bit, you know. If we're not paying attention to that, the Head of Mischief can steal buffs, and most probably he will do it right now. He will steal buffs from one of my heroes, because too many of them, they have 5 buffs, so it's basically based on luck. I wish he would have taken an extra turn in here. That would have helped him a bit to drop some of the buffs. You see, he went straight for Acrisia. He has ally protection. We gotta make sure we're not gonna hit him hard. That's what I miss right here. I would love to have a Mishinaki instead, because I would be able to strip the buffs and increase my damage even more. So a dupe Mishinaki would be so awesome for this team instead of Ugo. Of course, it won't be the same thing, but it will be very helpful, you know. I would still need that block buffs in a way or another, but probably I could play it around in a different way, you know. So there you go, Acrisia again, 415k. And as long as the damage stays double compared to the turn count, I'm happy, you know. I'm happy with that. But right now, again, I cannot free my Taras because of the Head of Mischief, who has my ally protection on Krisk. So if I do that, I'm going to kill Krisk, which is not necessarily the biggest issue, because hey, I do have a reviver, but I'm trying not to do it. You see? So we got that head down. If I'm using the AoE, it's going to be dangerous, so we're gonna stay away from it. But that's how the run goes, guys. Unfortunately, there is no damage counter on the side to show it to you for all the champions, because that would be absolutely amazing. I'm gonna fast forward towards the end of the run, and then I'm gonna show you the builds on my heroes, and especially the total damage. Here we are, guys. The run ended a bit prematurely, but basically we had 458 million damage in total, and Gnut coming in with 75 million damage. And if you're looking at Krisk, 87. Now, a lot of his damage as well came from Gnut, came from Taras, came from Acrisia. But just to give you guys an idea, Gnut can actually perform very well, and the more Hex champions you have in, the better. Now, the world record, if I'm not mistaken, is actually somewhere at around 1.1 billion with double Mishinaki and Gnut in the team. No Taras, no Acrisia. And of course, most of the damage there comes from Gnut, and of course from the Hex, you know, the way it spreads around. But enough with all that, guys. Gnut going nuts as usual. Let's go over the builds, guys, masteries, and everything else that you need to know. I'm quickly going to show you actually a screenshot that I took last week when I've done my run, because the result was much better actually. So we went to 547 million, which was pretty good, even though we had a lot of bad RNG because of a lot of force heads in there, you know. So this might improve in the next rotation. I'm expecting it to improve. I feel like the full potential of the team can reach roughly around 700 plus million. And we have Gnut here with almost 100 million. And Krisk with 100, Taras with 162, Acrisia with 170. But let's actually quickly go over the build. So this is the build that I have on Krisk. He is on a curse set and a perception. Total stats, we have 52k HP, 4.3k defense, 249 speed, 57 crit rate. Let me just bring the Hydra stats, because I always forget about them. So 259 speed, 57 crit, 123 crit damage, and we have almost 500 resistance, 320 accuracy, and we ignore 20% of the target's defense. Keep in mind, this is on brutal, guys, okay? So for Nightmare, you will need more stats. And I do have cruelty on him just to try and decrease the defense on the bosses even more. A couple of refresh accessories and masteries, offense and support tree. Now, having your gear ascended, guys, is very important. Of course, you are looking to get better things on it, like this banner right here, which increases the stats on him. The boots, for example, which are pretty decent, etc. You know, so ascending your gear is actually pretty damn important. So that's Krisk. Let's actually move over to the other champion. So let's go to Gnut, for example. And here he is. I do have the Soul Rip Mastery on him for the Fire Knight. Now, when I'm running him on the Fire Knight, I'm actually changing this build back to Savage on him, okay? So this build doesn't work in my Fire Knight team on Relentless. So every week I have to change the builds back and forward. That's something that I'm doing. Of course, not all of you guys will have to do the same. Relentless and Perception. I wish I would have a couple of refresh accessories on him. Unfortunately, I don't, and that's one of the main reasons why Acrisia brings in so much damage. Refresh accessories proc. She did got quite a few extra turns the previous run from the Relentless, so he didn't got that many actually. But look at the gloves. You see Ascended on defense, the chest piece, the boots as well. So this is very important to make sure you have your gear ascended if you want to reach stats like this. If no, don't don't stay and wonder how can you get these stats. Of course, great haul, having the glyphs on the gear, etc. All this enables you to build champions with crazy stats. It's not just having good gear, okay? So Hydra battles, the stats are on 45k HP, 6.1k defense, 258 speed, full crit, 247 crit damage. I would like some more crit damage just for the A1 and A2, but that will sacrifice too many of the rest of his stats. 348 accuracy, and we have 20, ignore 20% of the target's defense. Masteries, offense and support, Giant Slayer as tier 6. And yeah, that's pretty much everything in terms of masteries. The next champion that we have on the list, guys, is gonna be no one else but Acrisia. Let's get her in. So I got fortunate enough to summon 3 of them. I really hope I'm not gonna pull another one because hey, it's amazing to have multiple Acrisias, but from here on, you just want to get something different, you know? You just want to get something different. So Relentless and crit damage set, we have a refresh accessory on her. Total stats, 44k HP, 2.6k attack, 2.6k defense. This doesn't really matter. Mainly what you want to get from there is survivability. 269 speed, so she's a bit faster. More crit damage than Gnut. 101 crit rate, 294 crit damage, and we have 300 accuracy, and of course, we ignore 20% of the target's defense. So you see, she has 60% more crit damage than Gnut. That will boost her damage a bit. So overall, she does deal more damage than Gnut. Don't get me wrong, on a Hydra battle, just because of the AoEs, all the multi-hits that are all enemy max HP, etc., which will put her at the top of the food chain as a Hydra DPS, you know. But still, Gnut is very, very powerful, and I feel like a lot of people are underestimating him, and they're giving too much credit to Acrisia, and they're completely ignoring him, unfortunately. Then the next champion is Taras, just so you guys have an idea. He does have a pretty disgusting build, 3 refresh accessories. That's why he brought so much damage. He's on Savage. Total stats, we have 103k HP, 3.9k defense, 247 speed, full crit rate, 308 crit damage, so the highest crit damage out of all of them. No accuracy or anything like that. And you've seen, when we have all the decapitated heads with the buffs that we're putting on him, this skill hits for 2-3 million per head. Then this one hits for 1.1, 1.7 in between there on the heads, you know, when you have defense down and weakened. So this overall brings in a lot of damage too, you know. So definitely worth mentioning, you know. Moving over to the next champion that we had in, and that will be Ugo, if I'm not mistaken. Wait, it's W. I always spell double G, but it's W. I don't know why I don't remember it. Affinity Breaker set, guys, just to help us with all the force heads. And on top of it, I don't want her to gain extra turns anymore, because extra turns should only be on champions that deal damage. The rest of them should either have a reflex, should either have a different set, just to make sure you're getting the most out of your turn count for your Hydra battle, you know. So Affinity Breaker, a couple of refresh accessories, a speed set, and we have 68k HP, 4k defense, 270, 288 speed actually. No crit rate, a bit of crit damage there, but honestly, it's just not intended. It's the set that gives you the blessing, everything else. She does have cruelty as well. And we have 340 accuracy. Of course, we ignore 20% of the target's defense. Masteries, we have offense and support 3, guys. War Master as tier 6. So that's actually my Ugo. And I feel like that was it pretty much, guys. Let me know what team are you guys running for Brutal, and what do you think about this team? What do you think about Gnut in general for Hydra? Do you like him? You don't like him? And you would definitely prefer Acrisia 100% over him anytime in Hydra. That was all for the video. Appreciate every single one of you guys watching. Much love, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.